What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today we are going to be talking about this, the KNF concept, or Kent Faith concept, or carbon fiber tripod for travel, vlogging and work, stuff like that. This is a really lightweight tripod, as you can see by the way I'm just sort of throwing it around. Just to give you an idea, this is with exactly what comes with it, which is, you know, the ball head that comes on this one, but it can also be turned into a monopod, which I'll show you later on. But one thing I really like about this is just how lightweight it is. It's ridiculous. It weighs basically nothing compared to other tripods that I've had, which were, oh my god, I can't be bothered with this. But this, for very much a decent price, I paid, I think it was $79.99 at the time. It's currently on the website at $99.99, and I've had this tripod since, when did I order it? Let's have a look. Basically February 2024. So coming up to almost 2 years ago, I bought this tripod. Now, one of my favorite features about this is not only the fact it can be turned into a monopod, and not only the fact that if you basically pull these out on each side, you can see there's this little thing here. If you pull that out, or you push it in from the inside, like that, you can push it out that way. If you push them out, you can see there's a little bit of movement. If you push it out, you can basically fold this up on itself. Now, when you get it out the bag, which I'll get the bag in a moment to show you, this is the bag it comes in. Now, when it comes in that bag, you will see that basically it's pretty much like that. Now, not completely, because this one is still a little bit extended, but if I just push that down in a sec, give me a moment, tighten it up quite a bit, but that's how it comes, straight out that bag. And as you can see, just to, you know, prove it, into the bag it goes, no problem. So that is literally what it comes in. Now, my favourite part of this is when you want to actually use it as a proper tripod. When you get to that point, that's not meant to happen. I will talk about that in a second. That was a mistake by me and not a problem with the tripod itself. But as you can see, we've got the main bit of the tripod apart from the bit that came out. My favourite feature is 1, 2, 3. You unlock all of these and you can literally pull every single one of them out all at once. And as you can see, it's got quite the extend on it. So, with me obviously being probably about average, I would say average height of about, my height is 5'10". So I don't know where you want to stack that up, but either way, I'm 5'10". If I just lock all these in place, you'll be able to see pretty quickly that this is actually, I would say, as a standalone tripod, it's not actually that tall. Now, to get this to lock in instead of doing this, because you can actually do that, you push these in, so there's a little gap here on each side, and then you pull it out and it locks in place that way. Now, if I just make sure that everything's locked, this now sits like that. I didn't lock that one. It's always the case, I always miss one, because there's quite a few. Anyway, that is fairly stable. Now, it does bow slightly because of how thin the legs are here. Now, what I've tended to do when I've been using it in the field is I actually put that one in, so you've got the thickest part of the legs, and that is a much more stable way of using the tripod. However, in the ideal scenario with a tripod, you actually want it at height, at your head value, or the same height as you're going to be looking at. You want to, you know, make the most of it. Now, again, this part is not meant to come out unless you actually take it out. This is supposed to stay where it is. And there is another bit that's actually missing out of the tripod because it fell over on me about 3 weeks ago or something like that, and had a little bit of an accident with the camera on it while I was using it as a monopod, and it broke part of the thing in the bottom of the tripod, but it hasn't stopped me using the tripod as a tripod. So obviously you can see here, this is the maximum height it will go to. One thing I will say at this maximum height is that this isn't that stable, and in wind and different things, it can get blown over pretty easily if you've got a big lens on it and stuff like that. So what I will say is, for lightweight and traveling and taking it with you, especially if you've got a setup like I have, which is the 100 to 400, if you lock this in place and then you go to use it, you'll see it is pretty much right at the level I would need it to be at. It's pretty much perfect level for me at 5'8", 5'10", sorry. Now, what I will say is that if I knock this, or I just pull it to one side, over it goes. And that's where I had, a little bit of a problem, because what you need to do is you need to kind of look where the two stanchions are and put them to the back of where you're aiming. So if I put that to the back of where you're aiming and I go to pull it one way, it won't actually move that much if everything is locked up as it's supposed to be. So if I try and move it now, it does move, and I've just pulled it off the thing because I didn't actually tighten this up. But if I pull that now, it's not moving anywhere near as much. But a gust of wind is not going to move it as bad. And I'm like really knocking this now. Like, you can see it moving a lot. And that is the main problem I have with this tripod, is when you're in that sort of thing, look how much that moved when I put it down. This whole thing wobbles way too much for my liking. Now, what I will say is, when you've got one of the other lenses on, like the small 16mm lens or the 24 to 105 on here, obviously that lens, this lens, weighs probably about the same or very similar to that 100 to 400. But obviously it's much more compact. But even still, look at how much that flexes. It's not the most comforting when you see it moving around like that. Now, I am actually deliberately shaking that quite hard. In the wind, you won't notice it move that much, but it'll be a slight movement. And that is enough to blur some photos, especially if you're doing longer exposures, which happened to me in Iceland a couple of times when we had really, really high and severe winds. Now, I was using the little 16mm lens, which I'll just pop on right now just to show you. I was using the 16mm lens to take pictures of the aurora. I'll put one up on the screen that I was really happy with. But slight movements, even with that, is a little annoying. The difference is, if you use a timer, a 10-second timer to allow the camera and everything to stabilize, most of the time the shots end up being okay. It's just when there's a wind, a real gusty wind that can catch hold of the camera or the lens in any way, then it starts to move about a little bit more, and that's where you get some of the blurry issues or blurry pictures. Now, one of the things that I was doing to sort of negate it with the 100 to 400 attached, especially when it was, all the way out shooting towards the moon, is I was using Canon's Camera Connect to basically set a timer on, basically look at it on my phone, make sure it isn't moving, then set the timer off. So then you've got 10 seconds of it hasn't moved, and I'm controlling the camera remotely, so the tripod hasn't moved whatsoever. That was a really a way of me being able to get some of the shots that I did without other factors being, involved. If it was really, really windy and the tripod was out in the wind, no chance, because it would still be moving. Because even something as small and compact as this setup would still move a little bit. I mean, I've literally pressed the button and you can see it's moving, and this is on carpet where it's digging into the carpet as well. Now, one thing I will say is this tripod is rated all the way up to, I think it was about £18 or something like that. Yeah, about 17 to 18 pounds, 8 kilograms, which means some of the bigger lenses with the camera is going to be pushing its limit. Now, the 150 to 600, I tested this. The Sigma 150 to 600 contemporary lens with the Air 7, this handles it fine. The one thing I will say is that it moves a lot, and it is a little bit disconcerting because when you come back to the tripod, if you've left it for a bit, you'll see that the legs are bowing out like that. And that's where you've got to be a little careful with the bigger, heavier lenses. And I will say that for me, it was a little disconcerting. I thought, oh, if I leave it too long, is that just going to snap? Or is it going to bend the legs indefinitely? And that's where it's like, not so sure. But the quality of this tripod, the way it's built, all the mechanisms on it are really, really good. And the only reason I've had a problem with it is because I broke it myself doing something stupid. Now, what I actually did was I was messing around with it as the basically like this, but with the what's it called, the leg that you can actually modify to take it off and use as a monopod. Now, the monopod leg is obviously very, very easy to tell apart because it's got this rubber handle on it. Now, if I just undo that, what you're supposed to be able to do, which I can no longer do until I find a missing piece, is that you can basically mount this to the bottom like that. So you can obviously get the right height that I was on about earlier, and you could use it as a monopod, which is fantastic. The problem is, I was being stupid, holding it by this bit, and obviously I had the 100 to 400 on it, and then what happened was this little bit here snapped. And because that snapped, the whole thing came over. Now, what it did was it's put a slight crack in the carbon fibre here on the end. I don't know whether the camera will see it. Yeah, there you go. You can see there's a little bit of a line there. That's a little crack. Now, in all honesty, I shouldn't have been messing around with it like that. I should have been careful, but I was trying to do this video that I'm doing right now. I was trying to show that, oh, you can just walk around with it. It's fine. And then the whole thing came down. So I'm pretty sure I've got a clip of that somewhere. I'll put it on because it's a bit embarrassing, to be honest. But you guys can laugh at me. So it is what it is. I made a mistake. It is my fault. So, you know, I broke the thing. It's not the tripod's fault that I pushed it way past its limit. Like, not even, I'm lifting up. Shit. By doing something completely ridiculous that no one would actually do. Unless they were showing off. So, you know, it is what it is. But this whole setup is so light, even as this, even with, you know, everything on it, with the camera and everything like that. It's really, really lightweight and it's really, really good. Now, one thing I will say is when I talked about weight earlier, I forgot to mention something else, which is I actually didn't just use the Sigma 150 to 600 on this. I also put a gimbal on it with the 150 to 600 on top of that. Now, you guys are probably thinking, what, you put a gimbal on with that heavy lens that was already bowing it? Yeah, I did. Now, what I'll do is I'll show you the gimbal in a second and how easy it is just to change it. Now, if you hold it, you can just literally unscrew the ball head that comes with it. Off it comes. And then you can literally go and screw your gimbal straight to the top. Now, obviously, the gimbal head on this is so much bigger. As you can see, the actual gimbal head is quite a lot bigger than the, you can see there's a difference there. There's probably half an inch, maybe an inch around the whole thing, that shows just how much bigger the actual thing is for the gimbal. But obviously, with the gimbal, what you can do, and this is where, you know, I bought the gimbal for this sort of thing, was for tracking birds and whatever else with the 150 to 600. I also bought the ground pod. Now, obviously, with this, you stick this on there, and then you lock this in place. Now, this is a Anduer gimbal. It's really not that bad. It's quite heavy. It's fairly heavy, but obviously, you've got the up and down tilt like this, and then you've got your side to side as well. But obviously, look how smooth that is. Now, obviously, I'm holding the tripod a little bit here because I know that with how lightweight this tripod is, it's got a willingness to move. Now, obviously, this is going to be really smooth footage. And when you do that, obviously, if I let go, it's going to tilt even more, a lot quicker. But the fact is, this tripod can handle the gimbals. And that's one of the things I wanted to point out. Even though it's so lightweight and you can take it traveling, you can put it in your backpack basically and take it with you, it still has the ability to put gimbals and ball heads and whatever, like fluid head bearings and whatever on the tripod if you did want to. It doesn't restrict you. Now, one thing I will say is obviously you've got to be careful of what you do put on it because of the weight and everything. But I think that's every single product that you come across when it comes to photography in general. Now, obviously, this is me just being a bit daft because you could just carry around the gimbal. But, you know, I'm not going to be stupid and suggest that that's what people do because it's not practical in the first place anyway. Now, back to the tripod. It comes with the ball head, which obviously is here, which is also Arca Swiss compatible for those Arca Swiss fans. Pretty much everyone uses Arca Swiss, and that's obviously a great thing. So it's very easy to set everything up, get everything working, and utilize the tripod for what you want to do. The problems with this tripod that outweigh some of the benefits. It's absolutely ridiculously lightweight. That's a benefit. But that benefit comes with downsides, where once you start getting to the heavier gear, it does flex. And when you start getting to, you know, the stability and everything like that, it is compromised a little bit. Now, being so compact and being so lightweight is fantastic for travel. It really is. And I took this to Iceland. I took it to Cyprus. I've taken it everywhere with me. And it's been in every single weather condition possible. It's been out in hail, it's been out in snow, it's been out in -15, freezing temperatures. That's Celsius, by the way. I'll put Fahrenheit on the screen for you. But either way, you know, this has survived it all. And that is props to KNF Concept and the, you know, their actual tripod that they've made here. It's made out of good quality stuff. It's really durable. There's just certain things that you've got to be careful of. And if you do test the limits of it, like anything, you're going to break it. It's like, it's almost like saying, if I threw a camera at a wall, how hard would I have to do it to break it? Obviously, if you do stupid things, you're going to get a stupid result. So, yeah, it's just one of them things. Don't be daft with it, and you'll be fine. But, again, I think for the price, which, you know, going back to what I said earlier, this cost me 75 quid. For the price, to be able to literally take it like this, fold it up into basically nothing, where it is literally not even as big as my arm. And then what you can do, if you've got a backpack like this is my camera backpack, it's got a little pocket on the side. How I travelled with this is I literally put it in there, put it in the pocket, pushed it down so it was at the bottom of the pocket, and then just literally strap that in there. And then you can just off and away, off you go. Not a problem at all, and it just sits nicely, and it's not even as tall as the bag. Now, if you had a bigger tripod, this bag does support it because there is another strap here at the bottom, but with this, you don't need it because the tripod is that small and compact. You don't actually need to do anything with it. So what I recommend this tripod to you guys to buy? Well, to be completely honest, it depends on the setup you have. If all your lenses are lightweight and you're not going to be using the full height of it, then maybe it's a good one for you. But potentially, you might need something a little more stable, and that's what I'm going to be looking at in the future for myself, is to get something a little more stable that I can put a few heavier lenses on and that I can do a few more bits with without worrying that it's going to be moving around in the wind or whatever else. Because my main concern with that is, if I take the shot, is it going to be completely stable? Is it going to be completely blurred if I somehow happen to get the wind blowing it or something like that? How is it going to affect the end image that I'm taking? And if you've got a question that, then to me, it's not the best product for you guys. But for me personally, it's been fantastic over the course of the 2 years that I've owned it. And I've taken a lot of nice shots with it. It's just that when it comes to some of the longer exposures and you're looking to the elements for it and you're out in the middle of nowhere and wind and rain and whatever else can be an effect, that's where this tripod starts to fall down a little bit because the weather elements can affect it. Whereas something a little bit heavier, something more sturdy is probably not going to move anywhere near as much. The downside to the more sturdy tripod is probably it's going to be a damn sight heavier. Now, again, as previously displayed with this, you can hold this comfortably on a pinky for quite a few minutes and not have any issue. So, hopefully you guys have enjoyed this review on the K&F Concept tripod. This is the 1.5 meter or 60-inch tripod. This is the A225CO plus BH-25L. But I'll leave a link to this tripod in the description if you guys want to go and check it out. There is currently a £15 coupon on the website, so if you guys want to get the tripod and save a little bit of money, that is there. This video is not sponsored by them in any way. Again, just my honest opinion with this. It's a little bit flimsy, and the one thing that I broke, which is this at the bottom, I need to find the other piece to, kind of put it back together and see whether I can sort it out to actually be able to use the monopod properly now, because I can't do that at the moment. But either way, hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to smash that thumbs up button and subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys in the next one.